The American Armenian National Security Institute, AANSI, requests the honor of your presence at the Ansi Banquet for support of Armenia, Artsakh Republic's sovereignty, independence, and defense. November 11, 2021 at 6 p.m. at the award-winning Taglyan Complex, located at 1201 North Vine Street, Los Angeles, California, 90038. The program will feature a presentation of the world premiere of Ansi documentary. The keynote speakers are the Honorable Rudy Kusuns, the Republic of Artsakh's Presidential Chief Advisor and Ambassador with Special Assignments. The second speaker will be U.S. Army Major Retired General Mark MacCarley, also the Chairman of American Armenian National Security Institute. The proceeds of the event are to benefit the military hospital in Stepanakert, Artsakh Republic, AANSI educational efforts in support of Armenia and Artsakh sovereignty, and the American Armenian Humanitarian Brigades for Armenia and Artsakh. For tickets and/or donation or further information, please call 818-241-5800 and ask for Alin Pogharian.
Good evening, my name is Apo Jabarian. I'm the TV host, and today my special guest is U.S. Army Major General retired Mark MacCarley. In August of this year, a group of American journalists became the first such team that arrived in Artsakh. They became the first journalistic team that arrived in Artsakh since January 2021. No other journalistic team, including CNN, Fox, Agence France Presse, AFP, and other major networks could not arrive in Artsakh since January of 2021. And but God's grace, with God's grace, we were able to be there, and the journalistic team was led by Major General retired Mark MacCarley and Colonel Cassidy and cinematographer Aaron Cassidy. Colonel Robert Cassidy is a professor of defense and foreign policy at Wesley University. He's also retired, of course. And myself in my capacity as an investigative reporter. So we broke through the barrier. Our team broke through the barrier en route to Artsakh. Let's watch together a short interview General MacCarley and I had in the capital city, Stepanakert, right in the city center, not too far from the government building. So, as you may see, this is the capital city of Artsakh Republic that has survived the 44-day war in the fall of 2020. As you may see around, the city is just waking up. Yesterday at 5:30 p.m., this city, all the streets that we've been through, there were heavy traffic spots in many parts of town. So the city and the Artsakh Republic itself shows signs of resilience. The Armenian David against the Turkish Goliath. The fight continues on. General MacCarley, what is your impression of your visit to Artsakh?
I'm indeed impressed with the Artsakh people, their courage during the war, their resiliency, their ability to bounce back, and their hope for the better future in the Caucasus.
Have you had any meetings in the capital city?
We've had
with the political leaders and military establishment?
Several meetings with the leadership of Artsakh, to include the president.
How did the meeting go with the president, Mr. Arayik Harutyunyan?
Your president, Mr. Harutyunyan, is a devoted patriot for Artsakh. He is leading this country, and he has been inspirational and has the support of the world in his efforts to maintain the security of Artsakh.
Were you as a guest of the Republic of Artsakh?
I am always honored to be invited as a guest.
Who was the host?
As you use the term guest, I would suggest that we ourselves as journalists have a first responsibility to our viewers and our readers. We gained access to the president and to the leadership of ARTSOC because of our reputation as journalists, as two individuals who are committed to seeking the truth and doing right by the people around the world, and in this instance, doing right by the people of ARTSOC.
Thank you, General. As we wrap up our very short visit, I could tell that this was a marathon journey to ARTSOC, and we're indebted to General Rudy Husyuns, who has been kind to us and facilitated our journey to ARTSOC so that we could perform our journalistic duties. What was your impression of the people, of the Armenian people in the Republic of Armenia and ARTSOC?
Well, I think the first thing I should do is express my appreciation for your invitation to participate and discuss ARTSOC in Armenia as part of the overall assessment of strategies in the Caucasus. And as you've put a question to me, and that is my overall impression, I put a smile on my face and say the people of ARTSOC especially were incredibly cordial and accepting, even though I have a severe limitation in my ability to communicate in Armenian. I think right now I have access to perhaps 10 words, and I'm hoping that I'll be able to expand my understanding of the language as we continue in our quest, which is, of course, the whole reason for ANSI, the Armenian American National Security Institute, our quest to assist the people of ARTSOC, the people of Armenia, toward a better place, a place that is secure amongst all the nations and not threatened by Turkey, Azerbaijan, and other countries in the Caucasus who are intent upon doing damage to Armenia and ARTSOC.
In recent months, you, along with fellow Americans, non-Armenian Americans, and also American Armenians, embarked on a visionary journey. And that visionary journey started when you started talking about the importance of bringing to life an organization that is called the American Armenian National Security Institute. Mm-hmm. Can you please tell our viewers about the mission that American Armenian National Security Institute, AANSI, or ANSI,
Sure.
has?
Certainly, Apo, but before I embark upon a conversation, a discussion about ANSI, it's probably much more interesting to your viewers that I relate a little bit of my personal history with ARTSOC in Armenia. And as a student of history and military history, of course, I've appreciated the role Armenia and ARTSOC has played over a millennium, 2 millennia, as a gateway to Western Europe, and certainly a part of the world that has been subject to significant conflict over time. The Armenian people of ARTSOC, perhaps one of the most significant characteristics of those who live in Armenia and Artsakh is their resiliency, their ability to survive under some of the most oppressive and harsh conditions, especially during that period of 1915 to 1921-22, in which the Armenian people were subjected to the brutalities of the Turks, what we now call the Armenian genocide. So for me personally, I had studied the war of, depends on whom you speak to, whether the war with Azerbaijan, the war of independence was in 88 or 91, in which the people of Artsakh rose up 95, 96, even a higher percentage, even in that period of 1991, are Armenian, and declared independence. During that tumultuous period, the Soviet Union was disintegrating, and a decision at that point, Azerbaijan wanted to establish display its hegemonic ambitions, just absorb Artsakh, brutalize its people. And so the heroes of Artsakh in that period of 88, 89, 90, 91 chose to seek liberty, even if it meant death. And with that courage and assistance from around the world, those heroes of Artsakh ensured the security of Artsakh and established what was, until last year, both Artsakh proper and those surrounding areas in which almost everyone was of Armenian ancestry. So as we move forward to 2016, I received an invitation from the government of Armenia. At that time, the Minister of Defense. I had just retired from the United States Army, and I was in Armenia, interestingly, as a tourist until April the 1st, when a war erupted between Azerbaijan and Artsakh. And somehow or another, the fact that I was in the country circulated, and I received a call from the Minister of Defense, and he and I talked. We established a relationship, extraordinary guy, General Ohanian, and he asked me a favor, and that favor was whether or not I would make an assessment of the logistics capability of the Artsakh, the Lions of Artsakh, the soldiers of Artsakh, in regards to what was happening at the forward line of battle. And I did so. And I spent a couple of days, and on the fourth or fifth day, I was with the Chief of Staff of the Artsakh Army, sitting in his office, when he asked me politely, he said, "General MacCarley, would you excuse me? I have to meet the President of Russia." And as most folks remember, Russia brokered a peace deal, really a truce between Azerbaijan and Armenia. But I shouldn't even call it a peace deal, because there was no resolution of any of the issues. The issues are still outrageous, and to this day, there has been no real resolution. A lot of foreign entities, NGOs, OSCE, Office of Security Cooperation Europe, its Minsk group, spent a considerable amount of resources to try to put some sort of peace deal together between Azerbaijan and Armenia regarding Artsakh and the territories. Never happened. So the Russians brokered a deal in 2016. That's it. And that's the downside, because while there were expectations in Western Europe and in America at that particular period of time, those expectations that there would be some sort of true peaceful resolution between the two countries, that they could exist in the Caucasus forever without engaging in conflict, that never materialized. And so a lot of activity 4 years later. This is 2016, and we're talking about April 4th, 5th, when that war, there was a ceasefire brokered by the Russians. This is 2016. And then lo and behold, we move forward 4 years, and we're looking at both July of 2020, which should have been a bell ringer for Armenia and Artsakh, because there were incursions by the Azeris into Artsakh at that time. Of course, there was a little bit of consternation, and then the Azeris backed off, and I think those were just exploratory, what we call in the Army, in military circles, exploratory forays to determine and test the hardness or the strength of the defenders on the Artsakh-Armenia side. Nobody looked at it that way, and that's unfortunate, because when you count from July to September, that's exactly 2 months, and 2 months later, the Azeris invaded. And it was part of this grand strategy on the part of Azerbaijan, and that was, if we can't achieve what we wanted through negotiations, which seems to go nowhere, and we wanted to establish our, once again, hegemonic authority over Artsakh, well, we're going to do it by military force. And all this contributed. Ultimately, we had the opportunity, I, and my colleagues, my colleagues who served with me in the Middle East during the height of the Iraq War, and we opted to accept an invitation from the Armenian government to come forward. We couldn't do it during the height of the war. We were excluded from doing so, but we did in August of this particular year had the opportunity to travel forward and become, as you've indicated again to your viewers, to become the first Western journalist to enter that country since the war, or at least since January. There was one abortive attempt, I think, by the French to get in, but we got through to Artsakh. Americans, I profess no strong understanding of the Armenian language. Of course, you, Apo, are Armenian and can speak, but it was still a tricky adventure as we found ourselves traveling down the Lachin corridor, meeting with Russians and knowing full well that the Azeris were not more than 250 meters on both sides of the Lachin corridor, ready if it appeared that we were some sort of invading force. The 5 of us would have taken immediate action. So we went into the country. And again, this was an assessment on my part. I wanted to see a couple things. Firstly, I wanted to assess what's called battle damage. I wanted to see the effect of the new weapon systems and the technologies that were employed by the Azeris, who took that period, that 4-year period from April 5th of 2016 to the commencement of hostilities in September of 2020, and use that time to Azerbaijan's advantage. Meaning Azerbaijan had a shopping list, it had money, it went out and it bought high-tech weapon systems. Everybody's familiar with the issue of the utilization of drones secured from both Turkey and from Israel, and as well cyber tools, and adopted both tactics and technologies from its mentor, Turkey, and used those technologies and those tools, those weapons, to huge advantage. Somehow, Armenia, for any number of reasons, while it re-equipped from the 2016 war, it appeared to me that Armenia, and to an associated degree, Artsakh, maintained the level of technology and understanding of armed conflict that was really characteristic, as I wrote in one of my articles, characteristic of Soviet operations in the late 20th century, the mid to late 20th century. Azerbaijan had taken a look and had made significant gains in military technology.
On November 10, 2020, a ceasefire was brokered by Russia.
Correct.
And many Armenian and non-Armenian military and political observers think that that's not the end of the war. What do you think?
Oh my gosh, now you've just got to the point that I was about to make. No, it is not, and what took place on November 10th is not the end of the war. In fact, as we were in Stepanakert, and this is below the radar, so to speak, because it's not discussed in both international journals and to a large extent social media that is readily accessible by Western Europeans and Americans who do not have the ability to speak Armenian, is that there continue to be incursions by Azerbaijan, Azeri forces, military clashes, artillery barrages. There were artillery barrages that occurred while we were in Stepanakert, not more than 7, what we call in the trade clicks, or 7 kilometers outside of Stepanakert. Now, if that doesn't say and corroborate quite clearly the proposition that you're putting forward, that the war is not over, and that Azerbaijan is looking for that opportunity to strike. Now, it will require certain political conditions to exist. It might require the tacit consent of those who are maintaining this level of what is assumed to be security right now over Armenia and Azerbaijan. But if the political conditions are appropriate, Azerbaijan will take that opportunity and strike once again. So all of a sudden, if you accept what I have said, then it becomes almost intuitive the absolute necessity of establishing an organization, as we've discussed, the American Armenian National Security Institute, the focus of which is on the preservation of the sovereignty and independence of Armenia and as well Artsakh. And the focus is laser-edged. I mean, Ansi does not look at the political equations that are continuously changing in Armenia based upon political consideration or who's in power, who's not. The focus is on what is necessary in terms of supporting especially the Armenian diaspora, which we'll talk about in just a second, but more importantly, those of us who are not Armenian, but are sympathetic, empathetic, which is a much stronger word, with those of Armenian Artsakh, truly the only existing democracy, functioning democracy right now in the Caucasus. And I'll tell your viewers, I have written off Georgia as a country that is now exhibiting clear evidence of tyrannical rule on the part of its president. So what that does is it again confirms that the only democracy in the Caucasus is Armenia and Artsakh. That said, the sympathies of the world, the Western Europe, and especially America, should be, once again, focused on doing everything that is possible to preserve that Democratic Republic of Armenia and the Democratic Republic of Artsakh. That is an absolute necessity.
Early Thursday, I received a link from Ansi YouTube channel, and I found out that Ansi has released an announcement, TV announcement for an upcoming event. Mm-hmm. Let's watch together.
Thank you. Look forward to it.
The American Armenian National Security Institute, AANSI, requests the honor of your presence at the Ansi Banquet for support of Armenia, Artsakh Republic's sovereignty, independence, and defense. November 11th, 2021 at 6 p.m. at the award-winning Taglyan Complex, located at 1201 North Vine Street, Los Angeles, California, 90038. The program will feature a presentation of the world premiere of Ansi documentary. The keynote speakers are the Honorable Rudy Kusuns, the Republic of Artsakh's Presidential Chief Advisor and Ambassador with Special Assignments, The second speaker will be U.S. Army Major Retired General Mark MacCarley, also the chairman of American Armenian National Security Institute. The proceeds of the event are to benefit the military hospital in Stepanakert, Artsakh Republic, AANSI educational efforts in support of Armenia and Artsakh sovereignty, and the American Armenian Humanitarian Brigades for Armenia and Artsakh. For tickets and/or donation or further information, please call 818-241-5800 and ask for Alin Pogharyan.
We watched the Ansi November 11 banquet announcement, which will take place next Thursday at 6 p.m., starting 6 p.m. at the Tagline Complex in Hollywood, featuring two important keynote speakers, Chief Presidential Advisor of Artsakh Republic and Ambassador with Special Assignments, Honorable Rudik Husnuns, and U.S. Army Major General Retired Mark MacCarley. So in the light of what has transpired during the 44-day war, many Armenians in the diaspora and Armenia proper, as well as Artsakh Republic, woke up to the reality that whatever world Armenians did during the past 30 years was good, but not good enough. So now, during the last year, since the stop of the hostilities in November of 2010, I started noticing through my numerous conversations with people in the diaspora, Armenia and Artsakh, that the time has come for the diaspora to reinvent itself as a major force to ensure the survival of the twin Armenian republics, to do everything in its capacity to help critical institutions like the American Armenian National Security Institute to foster a strategic, stronger alliance between the United States of America and the Republic of Armenia on the economic, political, and military level. The time, it seems, for many Armenians around the world, especially among the American Armenians and American non-Armenian Americans, that the time has come to start thinking and functioning at a new level, a level that will ensure the survival of the Armenian twin republics of Armenia and Artsakh. So, like the saying goes, we have miles to go, promises to keep. And there is another saying, if not now, then when? If not me, then who? So, General MacCarley, what is your message to your fellow Americans, non-Armenian fellow Americans, including American Armenians?
Apo, thanks for giving me an opportunity to sort of wrap this up by saying that ANSI, American Armenian National Security Institute, has 3 objectives, all of which we can invite not only Armenians but non-Armenians. And those objectives are, firstly, education. Education across this country, all ages, our political leadership, our military leadership, about the importance of Armenia and Artsakh, not only to preserve the security of those countries, but the security of the United States and Western Europe, because those countries, Artsakh and Armenia, are pivotal in the Caucasus. That is an area that has been hugely important for 1,000 years and has become increasingly important in the struggles across that country and across that region, with the participation of a lot of state actors like the Russia, Iran, Turkey, all of whom have collided right in Armenia and Artsakh. Number 2, is support for the military hospital in Stepanakert. That's where those who are willing to contribute and help out come to the banquet, donate if they have the ability to donate. Those funds will go directly to the military hospital. And finally, the establishment, this will be the first time ever, establishment of a formal, what we call a humanitarian brigade. And that doesn't suggest war or anything like that. This is a collection of young people, older people too, who have certain skills that are very valuable and can be utilized in terms of crisis, in times of crisis in Armenia. And this would not just be an individual volunteering, as we had so many fine young men and women volunteering during the height of the 44-day war. This is an organized entity, a unit. There's training involved. Training would consist of education in medical subjects, first aid, emergency responders, and as well emphasis on other skills that are really and vitally needed by Armenia and Artsakh during such a crisis as a war. Logistics, logistics being one of them, cyber ability, communications ability, maintain the networks, the communication networks, even civilian phone lines and internet. All those skills are vitally needed to back up any sort of effort on the part of Armenia's military and Artsakh's military to maintain security, but you need those in the back, in the rear, to basically relieve the Armenian soldiers, the frontline soldiers, from doing what they need to do. So this is the Humanitarian Brigade. It will deploy. The expectation is we're looking at about 500. They will be sanctioned by Armenia and Artsakh, clearly identified. They will be equipped, and they will commit to deploy within 96 hours of notification. That is our objective, and I think we can accomplish it if we get the support of Armenians and non-Armenians. It's really an expression of the power of the diaspora to support such an effort, because it is a return of that which the diaspora has enjoyed by relocating to a variety of parts of the world, but contributing once again to the homeland. And in fact, perhaps returning to the homeland, whether permanently or as part of the Humanitarian Brigade. So those are our objectives, and that's one of the reasons, all the three reasons why we're having this banquet.
The American Armenian National Security Institute, AANSI, requests the honor of your presence at the Ansi Banquet for support of Armenia, Artsakh Republic's sovereignty, independence, and defense. November 11, 2021 at 6 p.m. at the award-winning Taglian Complex, located at 1201 North Vine Street, Los Angeles, California, 90038. The program will feature a presentation of the world premiere of Ansi documentary. The keynote speakers are the Honorable Rudy Kusuns, the Republic of Artsakh's Presidential Chief Advisor and Ambassador with Special Assignments. The second speaker will be U.S. Army Major Retired General Mark MacCarley, also the Chairman of American Armenian National Security Institute. The proceeds of the event are to benefit the military hospital in Stepanakert, Artsakh Republic, AANSI educational efforts in support of Armenia and Artsakh sovereignty, and the American Armenian Humanitarian Brigades for Armenia and Artsakh. For tickets and/or donation or further information, please call 818-241-5800 and ask for Alin Pogharian.